We don't need to do professional intros anymore.
People like a little bit behind the scenes, little few outtakes.
Watch-alongs. Do you know how many people have still asked me, "Oh, you did the watch-along?" And I was like, the first watch-along I did was the 6-2 against Wolves. How
was that the first one?
I think so. Yeah.
But
what game?
No, to be fair, Charlie. Honestly, I've had a few people say to me, "Charlie is looking really dapper."
Mate, I've just wearing a tracksuit.
No, I don't know what it is, but people are telling me that.
People are liking a tracksuit. What could I say? Maybe I've got to start doing the Enzo Fernandez celebration.
That's why we put Nina next to you. You need a bit of competition.
Mate, maybe I should start doing the Fernandez celebration, getting people to call me.
What about me?
I don't understand the celebration.
Well, he's getting people to call him, isn't he? Maybe.
What? That was his celebration?
Yeah, he does the little phone celebration, doesn't he, mate?
Does he?
Have you not seen him do that?
Yeah, he's done it twice.
Yeah.
Already.
I'm not really, no.
Mate, maybe he's wanting people to ring him up now that he's a free man. Yeah.
There you go.
Do you know what, though? This is so random, but we never used to talk about goal celebrations last season because it was just Cole Palmer's, really, and then, occasionally here and there. Like, who actually had a good, a signature goal celebration?
What was the celebration?
I actually don't know.
You don't know
whether goals to celebrate.
What, you don't know the Cole Palmer?
No. We're saying because we had a tough season. That's why I said. What is a celebration? We didn't score enough.
No, we didn't really score that many. No, we scored. We scored quite a few.
It's a joke, Charlie.
Right.
We had a tough season.
Yeah. Cut it off already, Charlie. Let's talk about Villa.
Yes, let's get into it, guys. I mean, guys, have we come up for a name for this show? I've been asking in the comment. I don't think I saw any name.
It's just the day after the game.
Yeah, but we can do better than that.
We could do a bit better.
That's
even
really,
if
it's quite unimaginative, isn't it? The day after. I'm sure the people can do better. Let us know in the comments because we're struggling a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, how did you find the Villa game, Nina?
I loved it. It was so good. It was. I spoke to you. My fan cam was just so positive, as if it's the end of the season, the league's done, but. The thing is, people don't understand that last season, we didn't have a journey. And I think that's the biggest thing because we started out and we almost knew by this time last year that we were going to have problems in the season and in the league. And this year it's very different. It's a different feel because it seems like we know what our goals are and we are achieving them so far. I want us to get a bit of a winning streak going, but so far we're executing our game plans. Maresca's setting us up right. So what is there not to be happy about? And I think the fact that there's so much more optimism as opposed to last year is already an improvement. So it feels good.
I mean, I wasn't optimistic, I'll be honest, going into the season.
No, but neither was I, because I had no
clue
what to expect.
You were optimistic last season. I seen you on Sky last season.
Yeah,
we're definitely going to finish top four, this and that, right? And then you come into this season, I don't feel that confident. No, I know what you're saying, though. When you appoint a rookie manager who has 1 year experience in the Championship, there's always going to be a little bit of optimism. You're going to feel a little bit pessimistic about it. You're not really too sure what to expect, given we've had so much turnover and stuff. But do you know what? Fair play to him. He's come in. He's transformed the place. He's made fans look forward to going to games again. He's got us playing brilliant stuff. The players have bought into his ideas, and he's built. You can tell that he's now building something which could be special, and that's not bad for someone who's supposedly a Championship manager, is it?
Yeah. No, it's not bad at all. It's not bad at all. I mean, I've just got the table up. We are 9 points behind Liverpool.
Quick
9
points.
Mate.
Yeah.
Sorry, took me a moment.
I was like, are you looking at our position?
Yeah,
Should I say third or
third on alphabetical order?
I mean, we're ahead of Brighton. We're ahead of Man City now. Just behind Arsenal because of alphabetical order, which Matt had a lot to say about yesterday. You've probably seen some of the videos. Is it a realistic conversation? Title race?
No. It's too early. If it was a year later, I would say, yeah, quite possibly. But if we get to a situation where, let's say, come sort of end of January, start of February, we're within, say, 5 or 6 points, then it's quite hard to say that you're not in a title race, because how long can you just keep playing it down for? When you're 9 points behind, you're not in a title race. No one's expecting us to challenge for the league. But as I say, if we keep just doing our thing, taking it game by game, and see where that leads us, and if we do get to 5 or 6 points, say, come the end of January, then there's a bit more of a different conversation to have, and there's only so long you can keep playing it down for. But I'd be very, very surprised if we found ourselves challenging for the title this season. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I don't think it's a realistic possibility. It's not even that the team isn't ready. I just think you've got certain individuals in that squad that will let us down, and that's just the harsh reality of it.
Do you want to call anyone out?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've got no problem with that. I
Come
think.
on, Alex. Be
Go on,
specific.
call them out, mate.
Who
Out
are
them.
you referring to?
I feel like I'm on a Misfits card, you know, and I'm calling this. I think Robert Sanchez will let us down.
Yeah.
I think Wesley Fofana,
No, come on.
he has let us down by getting injured. I
Okay,
said it was.
Yeah, but it's not his fault.
No, but it is because you want to.
Well, it's his fault he got injured.
You shouldn't build your team around players who are going to constantly get injured. That's the reality of it. That's the harsh reality. That's why I never wanted Fofana in the first place. I never wanted to build this team around Fofana. So we're going to have players let us down, not just because of their performances, but because of their lack of fitness as well. I'm not saying, look, I'm not having a go at Fofana on a personal level. I'm just saying it's the reality. Do you honestly think that? Let's imagine that Rodri was injury prone at Man City, like his whole career, and every single season Man City had the same thing like we have with Reece James. That could have hindered their.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be building a team around him like that.
Yeah, but why are we?
No, we're not building.
We're building a team. We've got Reece James in there. We've got Wesley Fofana. We've got Pedro Neto. We've got other players in there who are injury prone. Romeo Lavia as well. That's just the harsh reality.
Alex is right. You are right in saying that, though, because he came in to be a defender with the price tag that he came in with, the Premier League experience he had prior to. He did come in to be a regular starter.
Yeah,
that we would build a defensive line around.
But let's be fair, an ACL injury is not his fault.
No,
exactly. And
it's the recruitment's fault.
And he had
for signing injury-prone players.
No, but this idea that he's injury-prone, he's had a lot of injuries, right? Broken leg because of a horrendous tackle at Leicester, not his fault. ACL injury.
It's not Reece James's fault, but he's injury-prone.
No, but it's not But no, what I'm saying is a broken leg is different to getting repetitive muscular injuries. So I don't look at a broken leg and an ACL injury and class someone as injury prone for that. I would classify someone as injury prone if they're constantly picking up repetitive muscular injuries like a Pedro Neto has in the past at Wolves, like a Reece James has. So like whilst Fofana's picked up a lot of injuries, I think it's unfair to label him as an injury prone player purely based on the fact that the injuries, two of the major injuries that he's picked up are just very, very unfortunate. I know obviously in that Graham Potter season he did have some muscular injuries and whatnot. But I just think it's a bit unfair to label him as injury prone. Given
he is injury prone, Charlie. He's a good player, but he's injury prone.
I would say that you can't maybe you can't rely on him entirely.
Well, that's the point, though, isn't it?
Yeah, because he does have a tendency to pick these things up. But Maresca said he thought it'd be 4 or 5 weeks. Fofana come out on his Instagram and just played it down as a little muscular thing, and it's nothing to worry about. So.
Yeah. Fofana says, "Don't worry, I'm not going to worry,
mate. I'm not going to worry.
I'm just a chill guy,
mate." He had the caption, "Trust your guy," so I'm going to trust my guy.
Hey, but listen, I think Fofana had a good game.
Yeah.
But I mean, you asked me who I think is going to let the team down. I think that's the reality of it. I thought Sanchez had a good game. We didn't want him to start, especially after Jorgensen's game.
And that's why he had a good game.
I remember, Nina, when we were outside the London Stadium after we played West Ham last season, and we were having this debate about Sanchez, and you weren't convinced. But it seems like, because I've had people call me out on live streams as well saying, well, hang on a second, what about the points that he's saved us in? And I suppose if you look at some of the mistakes that he's made, those have been in games that we've ended up winning anyway, like Brighton. I'm sure he made a mistake against Wolves as well.
Doesn't get highlighted as much as you won.
That's the thing, though, isn't it? So he hasn't dropped us points in those games. But if we hadn't have scored 4 goals or 6 goals or however many goals, we'd be looking at this totally different.
Exactly. Well, how many games have we said that where we've outscored our opponents is where we haven't actually scrutinised our defence? That goes for Sanchez as well, but, defence in general. I think at the start of the season that was a lot easier to do because we were scoring a lot more goals. And now, let me just sort my mic out. Oh, it's going to fall. Guys, I've had a mare.
It's all right.
Oh, God. Sanchez got you doing all sorts of
As soon as you talk about Robert Sanchez, she makes a mistake.
Mistakes made.
That's because apparently he's proving us wrong, guys. There we go.
Look, he had a good game yesterday.
He did.
Yeah, but I've said... No, let me just go back to last season, West Ham, before this mic goes again. Last season, West Ham, I told you even after Nottingham Forest at home that I'm just not convinced by him. And I think that the weaknesses he had then, he still has. So are we talking about a goalkeeper that's improved here for the year? No. And there are certain things that Sanchez just naturally won't be able to improve on. So if we're talking about things like title races and that, well, you can't really challenge for a title and win a title with a keeper that makes as many mistakes as Sanchez does and is as inconsistent as he is. Because he has these great games, but then he reverts back to those mistakes that he makes where he invites pressure, where he forces defensive errors from his back line as well. And then we're left with the situation where, well, yeah, we have to outscore our opponents to kind of, you know, put plaster over the cracks. So I'm not necessarily still bought that this can be a consistent thing. If he can do it over 10 games, do it. What you did against Aston Villa and the bare minimum, just when he plays out the back, don't, you know, faff around with the ball at your feet, because teams that press high, they will punish you for it. And we've seen it in games. So for me, he has to do it over a certain run for us to really talk about how serious of a keeper he is. I think we can absolutely get top 4, but to challenge for a title with Sanchez, I'm not too sure.
No, you're not winning anything. You're not doing anything major with Sanchez in goal.
No.
You simply aren't. Like he's 26. I know that's still reasonably young for a goalkeeper, but there's a big enough body of work to suggest that this guy is not going to significantly improve as a goalkeeper, and he's not going to stamp the consistent errors out of his game. All goalkeepers make mistakes. All players make mistakes, but players and like I don't know a goalkeeper that is making errors like he is on a consistent basis as often as he is. Like I can't think of one. So unfortunately, like you can finish top 4 with Sanchez, you can win a Conference League with Sanchez or whatever, or a League Cup. But if you're, you know, want to take yourself seriously, win Premier League titles, challenge, you know, go into the deeper stage of the Champions League eventually, you've got to have a top class goalkeeper. You look at all the teams that win stuff, they've all got a top class goalkeeper. If we want to be serious, I'm sorry, but you have to get a better goalkeeper.
But do you think it's just down to the distribution, or do we look at the saves as well?
It's just everything. Everything as a package. Like, yeah, okay, fine, he's a reasonable shot stopper, but, you know, that's your bread and butter as a goalkeeper. You need more than that. It's not just the shot stopping. Modern day goalkeepers now is your distribution, your decision making, what you're like on the ball. And he's just nowhere near the level required if you want to be serious. As I said, all the best teams in the world that are winning stuff, all the top teams, they've got top goalkeepers. We simply don't have that, and we've not had one since Thibaut Courtois, and that has to change.
Yeah, I mean, he did have a good game though yesterday.
Yeah,
I mean, we said after, because we were only sitting 6 seats away from each other or something like that. Shout out to Michael sorting out Charlie. But yeah, I mean, I said after the game, and I was saying to people around, like, Sanchez wasn't even that bad. But that's not the problem. It's that 1 week it's one thing, and the next week it's something else. You can't rely on a player like that. And for the great moments that he's had, like Bournemouth and some of the other games,
Forest had a couple of really good saves, but they're all cancelled out. Like, that stuff gets forgotten about because of the caliber of the mistakes that he made. That's just the unfortunate scenario. You know, it's like saying, I don't know, it's like someone scoring a hat trick, but they also scored 2 own goals. No one's going to talk about a hat trick. They're just going to talk about the 2 own goals. So
I mean, hopefully you won 3-2, but I mean that's besides.
No, but you get what I'm saying. Like, those things just get overlooked, and it's unfortunate because when Sanchez does do well, he does get praised for it, but you know that's not going to last. You just know that whether it's against Southampton, God forbid it's not against Tottenham, but you know that in the next couple of games a mistake is coming because he hasn't got that level of consistency that we require.
And do you remember last season, Alex? I would tell people would praise Sanchez, and I'd tell you that he would save his own mistakes. So he'd pass the ball out to a player of the opposition. They'd have a shot at him, and he'd save it, and people would go, "Well done!" But he put us in that position in the first place. So it's not necessarily that I want to be negative with Sanchez, but enough people in the fan base said after our midweek fixture, start Jorgensen against Aston Villa. That's quite telling, isn't it? It's a massive game. Aston Villa have a lot of threat. You know, you have someone that, like Ollie Watkins, who, I don't think he had his best finishing boots on. On another day, he scored some of those chances that he missed or had saved by Sanchez. But, you know, you're putting up a goalkeeper that's not played in the Premier League, but people wanted to see that. So it is quite telling that not enough Chelsea fans really have faith in Sanchez at the moment. And hopefully, you know, he can go on a bit of a run. But the fact that a year later he's still got the same weaknesses is quite worrying.
That's the biggest thing. He's not improved as a player.
Yeah.
You know, you look at how many players have improved since the start of the season under Maresca. There's loads of them. Jackson, Caicedo, even Enzo Fernandez improving. Cucurella, all these people are improving. But Sanchez, you look at him, he's made no improvements. His weaknesses are still as bad as they were, and the stuff that he's good at, he's kind of still good at. He hasn't really got any better at it. But that for me is the biggest thing, is that whilst others are improving, he's not showing any signs of improvement. And the odd good game here and there is kind of just papers over the cracks and just sort of delays talking about the inevitable, because he would need to go on a run of at least 10 plus games performing at a consistent level before I'd even begin to consider changing my mind about him. And that for me just simply is not happening.
No, that's fair enough. I think a lot of fans have been quite patient with him as well. I mean, we wanted Petrovic to come in last season, but we were open to Sanchez because Maresca wanted him. So you've got to see things with your eyes, and I think a lot of fans are in agreement over Robert Sanchez. One of the things I didn't understand yesterday when I saw the lineup, I saw we had Lavia, Fernandez, and Caicedo, and then we only had 3 defenders. And I'm thinking to myself, what are we doing here? We're not going with a back 3. The only solution is you've got to have Caicedo as a right back. But I didn't even take the time to think about him inverting. I thought, okay, play him as a right back. But seeing him invert into that midfield, I can't believe we haven't done that before. I mean, it just looks like a perfect system for a player like Caicedo. And let's be honest, it suits him more than it does with Gusto or Reece James inverting into that role. We know Fofana can't do it when he plays there, so he has to play sort of that classic right back. But I think it's honestly something I'd love to see much more, because there's a lot of times where I see Lavia or whoever it is in midfield, and I feel bad for them that they haven't started. I mean, Fernandez deserved to be dropped at one point, but then he had to come back in. He played his way back into the lineup. So to see all 3 of them starting together in positions that actually suit them, even though Caicedo's as a right back, he's done it before at Brighton, inverts perfectly. I mean, I wouldn't have said anything different than what I would have said if he'd have just started in the midfield anyway. And that's compliment to his versatility, the managerial aspect as well, obviously giving him good instructions. And Maresca's just making all the players look good at this point. I mean, Nina, what did you make of it?
Yeah, I mean, you're spot on with that, because he's found a way to make the players complement each other as well and kind of aid each other's game, if that makes sense. And that's the perfect scenario, because that was definitely our most expensive team probably on paper as well, when you look at how much money, just the midfield as well, you know, you had like someone like Wesley Fofana there, expensive players, and it actually worked. You know, we'd get mocked last season about the money and the price that Chelsea has spent was always raised in conversations, but it's not, because we're actually making do with what we bought, and the value ultimately of these players is rising with what they're showing on the pitch, or is being lived up to. But yeah, Caicedo, how interesting, a midfielder, right back inverting into midfield, a really good choice, which I think got the better out of Enzo Fernandez as well, because Lavia was sort of the more physical midfielder, doing the kind of one-to-one work in midfield, winning those duels and challenges, and then Enzo was able to push up. I thought he made Palmer much more free in terms of what he is always able to do, because I think where we were inverting Malo Gusto is Palmer would get pushed out way too far out to the left, where he wasn't able to roam around those kind of right pockets and, you know, help someone like Madueke feed Jackson. And that was a really kind of imbalanced dynamic to have on the pitch. I think this works much better, and it means that we have much more creativity, and also defensively Caicedo has done an absolutely amazing job. I said to you yesterday, he backs himself for aerial duels as well. He's not particularly the most tall midfielder when it comes to it, but you know, he does it, and he most of the time wins his battles. I think with Caicedo, I've noticed that his confidence has risen so much this season, because it's almost like where he's played better, he's got the better reception from the fans, and now he's just like, I want to do it again and again and again. Now he is dropping 9 out of 10 performances game in, game out, and that's all we ever wanted. He was another player last season that we would say, oh, he played well, then oh, he struggled another 3-4 games. Oh, there he is. There's the player again that we bought, and then he's gone missing. And now it is actually what we initially bought. He's the player we bought from Brighton. And actually, it's because he is now also playing in a system that's flourishing. You know, under Pochettino, there was no system, and Caicedo looked lost in that environment. Now he's playing with players that know what their job is, and everyone's just quietly fulfilling their role. And not very quietly, because, you know, coming up with 3 nils isn't particularly quiet, very convincing. But yeah, that's an absolutely prop to Enzo Maresca for doing something that really worked.
Just on Caicedo, by the way, I said this to you yesterday after the game. What he's doing is not normal in terms of the level of performances, right, that he's producing on a consistent basis, right? We just come out of games and we're like, oh, Caicedo was his usual self today. Like, you shouldn't just brush off or just become like sort of just accept that's just Caicedo doing his thing. The level of performance this guy's hitting is absolutely outrageous. How good he is. Like, you know, there's not one single mention of a price tag. There's not one single mention of Declan Rice comparisons. There's not one single mention of anything, because this guy is proving that Right now, with Rodri injured, this guy is the best midfielder in the Premier League. And I'd almost go as far as saying he's the best midfield player in the world right now. He is. Like, please tell me a better midfield player than Moises Caicedo right now at this current point in time in world football. There isn't a single one performing to the level that he is on a consistent basis. You know, the guy yesterday inverting from right back, and just on the right back, that makes perfect sense. If you're going to have a right back invert into midfield, you might as well have it as a natural midfield player. Because
he's done it before. He's been a right back before.
I mean, I don't want to see that like every week on a weekly basis. Of course, you want a natural right back in the side. But with Reece James injured, and Gusto, you know, obviously having his own fitness issues here and there, that is a million miles better than playing Disasi at right back. So I don't think it's something we're going to see on a weekly basis, Caicedo playing there. But if you want to fit Enzo, Caicedo and Lavia all into the same team, it's actually, that is the only way that you're going to do it and you're going to get the right balance. So if he wants to play all three of them, then, you know, you have to have Caicedo at right back, because all three in the midfield doesn't really work. You've got to have basically Fernandes playing as a 10, which we know doesn't particularly work. But yeah, what Caicedo is doing right now is just, the guy just drops like sort of casual 9 out of 10 performances every week, and we just sort of just kind of accept that it's just Caicedo doing his thing. But I think you just got to realise what we're seeing from him is special, and not many players are going to do that. And he's still only, 23 years of age. Think how much better he can get.
Yeah, I mean, he is a very special player. And I think Declan Rice, off the top of my head, Declan Rice could play as a centre-back. I'll give him that. So he does have some versatility. But I'm trying to think of top midfielders, top midfielders, who can do what Caicedo does in terms of distribution, the defensive work rate, and then the versatility aspect. Because not only can he sit, but he can actually go further up the pitch. I'd actually argue
a few assists that he got this season as well. I mean, look, it's not the strongest part of his game, but he has got that. And look, there's loads of brilliant midfield players like Camavinga, Tchouameni at Real Madrid. You know, you've got obviously Rodri when he's playing. Like Rodri, when he's playing, is obviously the best in the world. But right now, he's obviously not playing.
But could Rodri invert as a right back?
Well, no, probably. Well, I mean, I say no, but knowing how good he is, you know, he probably do whatever. Rodri might score 20 goals a season as a striker. Who knows? But yeah. Like, I think we just got to appreciate what we are seeing with Moises Caicedo, because, you know, we've been blessed with brilliant midfield players, Makalelis, Essiens, Balaks and all these kind of guys, and Kante, of course, as well. What Caicedo's doing, if he carries on doing this, then for a consistent number of years at Chelsea, I think we'll see him surpass Kante if he keeps doing that. And obviously, his performances need to contribute to winning big trophies as well.
I mean, this system as well. I say this system, the constant tweaks as well. I mean, we saw the same against Leicester. Nobody expected to see what we saw in terms of the setup for that game, with Cucurella pushing up a little bit more, Fofana slightly deeper, Fernandes on that right-hand side. I thought we were going to see the same thing. We saw Lavia on the right, but I think that was almost to cover Caicedo when he went up. Lavia filled that space, so maybe it makes sense from a defensive perspective. But what Maresca's doing as well, changing so many things, he's still managing to get the best out of his best players, and that's what I like about it. I've not seen Cucurella have a bad game this season.
No.
In recent times, Fernandes has been fantastic. I always said that Lavia. I mean, I had this debate probably a month ago. I said that Lavia is better than Fernandes, and he was, especially in the position that we were trying to play Fernandes in. There's no argument about it. But now that we're putting Fernandes in an environment when he can do, where he can do what he likes to do, what he's good at doing, and he's obviously taking on board what Maresca's saying as well, getting into the box. That seems to be one of the key points, and I'm sure we'll probably see more of that from Dewsbury Hall when he features, maybe even a little bit from Lavia and Caicedo if they're in the midfield. I don't know if that's specifically something for Fernandes, but we are starting to see the best of another player we paid over £100 million for. You know, he might be shushing the haters, calling people. Who knows what he's doing? But he's scoring goals, he's getting assists, and I hope we can maintain this form with Fernandes.
Just quickly before we talk about Fernandes, what Maresca's doing as well, like, it's so refreshing to have a manager that's like so tuned in with the details and the preparation. I'm not saying that like other managers don't prepare for games, of course they do, but the level of preparation and the level of detail that he goes into, the fact that from game to game there are subtle tactical tweaks week in, week out to to obviously try and counteract what team that we're playing against. And, you know, like yesterday, for example, playing Caicedo at right back, you know, playing Sancho, all these little things, whether it was Badia Shield coming in against Leicester, or Fana at right back, Cucurella playing much higher up the pitch, whatever it is, the little subtle tweaks that he makes week to week, you know, that are all working and all paying off. This is the hallmark of someone who is going to hopefully go on and become a very, very good coach, someone that's in tune with the game, someone that's in tune with what's going on, understands the tactical side of things, and everything he's doing right now is paying off. And we know that's not going to always be the case, but you know what he's doing right now, he's showing that he is up there at the moment with the very best managers in the league with how he started the season.
Yeah, I echo that. And I always say to you, Alex, after every game, is you can tell that he sets up quite differently. And he also is showing that his in-game management is very flexible. He's actually able to kind of read a situation. And one that comes to mind is Brighton at home. That was one of our best games this season, we all agree. But also in the first half, we were showing vulnerabilities and there were weaknesses in that team that Brighton were able to expose. And what did he do? He changed that. And even though we got all of those goals, well, Cole Palmer got all of those goals, there were still moments and things that needed to be fixed. And he did. And that's why we won as convincingly as we did. And it's why that we've been able to praise him on his substitutions as well, because everything always makes sense. I think with Pochettino, we always wondered, and we would all sit here and try and justify. Everyone would offer a different kind of excuse perhaps for certain things or why something might happen, but we're all very much on board with what Enzo Maresca is trying to do, and we're getting behind it. I said to you yesterday, I think we all trust him now 100%, because he sets us up every game with a plan, and it's most of the time executed. If something's not quite going right, he tweaks it. And I think that's such a good quality to have as a manager, because I think when people arrive in these roles, they all want to have their own footprint on this team, on the club, almost immediately, to a point where they might be reluctant to change things because they want it to be their way, they want to have their system. But Maresca's showing that he actually has the team's best interest at heart, the club, the results, and the victories, and he's kind of putting that Maresca almost mark to the side. That's not important to him, but yet here we are, we're praising it, we're understanding that, yeah, we know we bought quality players, but our previous managers didn't know how to get the best out of them. He actually is. And we did worry, didn't we, about, oh, they're not Maresca players, what's he going to do with them? Well, he's actually managed to pick out everyone's best qualities and throw them into something that really works. And he's able to interchange it. We see different players every week. So I think we've still actually got to see so much more from Maresca. I think he's only just getting started, really.
Do you think there's favouritism? Or do you think that
like managerial favouritism to players?
Yes, because that's something that we spoke about. Well, I've spoken about it for sure with players like Fernandes. It could have been Jackson or Madueke. But there's a lot of moments now where he's almost shutting us up because he dropped Fernandes and he dropped Madueke and players like that. And Fernandes is a key player who's bounced back from that. I mean, he wasn't out for a long time, but he was still out. He wanted to get back into the squad, and it's not like he just got put in and it was the same old. He's clearly improved and taken on board whatever he's been told.
Yeah.
I think the way that he manages the players and his man management and how he's managed the squad has been very, very good. You know, and he always speaks in a positive way. It's like, you're not playing because you're not good. It's because I've decided to make a different decision, or because as he always refers to, the balance of the team. So these players aren't not playing because they're not good enough. They're not playing because he feels that against certain opposition, other personnel will work better, and the balance of the team requires a different player to play against that type of opposition. So that for me, you know, is another key thing as well. His man management seems to be very good. How, you know, he leaves players out, but when they do play again, they're responding with a good level of performance. And that at the end of the day is all you can ask for. He always says, when you play, take the most of your opportunities. And all you can do when you're given a chance is give the manager a decision to make. And that's what all these players are doing when they play, whether it's the likes of your Mudryks in the Conference League, whether it's Fernandes in these last two games. Make the most of your chances, give the manager a decision to make, and you will get given opportunities, because he's fair and he does reward players on a meritocracy basis, which
like Neto.
Yeah, well, exactly. You know, like Neto's start to the season, by the way,
midweek games
was quite poor, wasn't it? Remember, he started his first Premier League game in that draw against Crystal Palace. He was disappointing. He was subbed at half-time against Bournemouth in his other start. But now, you know, he's back in the fold, and he's been our most influential attacker over the past few weeks. Obviously, before he missed that Leicester game, he was good again yesterday. It's just, the management of the players, everything he's doing is going perfectly right now. And, when you're doing well, everything you do tends to go reasonably well. But it almost feels a little bit like things are almost going dangerously too well at the moment.
I was going to say.
And you're sort of thinking like, it's Chelsea. Something's bound to go wrong at some point soon. But hopefully it continues. There will obviously be a point where we do go for a bit of a dip and we will go sort of maybe 3, 4, 5 games without winning. And then that's when you're going to find out more about the players, and you're going to find out more about Maresca, how he deals with adversity, how he deals with sort of a bit of a negative situation surrounding the club. But right now it's great. There's nothing negative to talk about Chelsea from a fan perspective. There's no negative stories in the media, and everyone's happy. And it's the most stable we've been both on and off the pitch probably in the last 2 and a bit years.
It is very stable. It's actually but it is true, isn't it? Once you get to that stage, I mean, we were so low, it could only get better, and that's why. I mean, I look at last season, still a lot better than finishing 12th, wasn't it? In that sense, so a massive improvement, but not where we want to be. And now I'm having people ask me after the game. I don't know if you know Kevin, who does Show Me, which is a Chinese channel.
Yeah.
He went, Alex, are you in the title race? I went, come on, Kev, come on, man. But people are having the conversation. They're taking Chelsea seriously. We're looking at individuals like we just spoke about with Fernandes and Caicedo, a couple of others as well. And they're going, these are actually serious players. This is a serious team with a serious manager as well. The question is, how far can we go? I mean, can we get through the December-January period unfazed? I think that we'll certainly have moments. I mean, I'm not going to go with what Father said. I mean, Father said the other day that he doesn't think we're going to drop any points until the end of January.
I
went, all right, Father.
Let's relax a little bit. I think that, but what I would look at in this run coming up now, this is where we're going to see how much we've improved as a team. Because, for example, home against Brentford in a couple of weeks' time. I think Brentford have won their last 2 or 3 visits to Stamford. The last 3 trips to Stamford Bridge, they've won. They beat us 4-1 under Thomas Tuchel when Rudiger scored that top bin screamer. And then we lost 2-0 under Potter, and we lost 2-0 under Pochettino. So the last 3 trips to Stamford Bridge, Brentford have won. So you're looking at games like that and you're thinking, right, we haven't got a good record against Brentford at the Bridge. If we're able to win a game like that, for example, that is a sign that we're making improvements. Going to Goodison Park before Christmas, absolutely atrocious record at that ground as well. If we can go there and get a positive result, that's all showing signs that we are making improvements. So I'm looking at games like that in this run coming up, and you're thinking, if we can get positive results in games that we've struggled in over the last few years, then you can really see that, even though there's obvious improvement right now, you could see that, you know what, actually we are a serious team and things have really taken a turn for the better.
We're going to have a little challenge. Josh is going to love this bit of short form content. All right. We're going to keep the camera, just for whoever's editing this podcast, we're going to keep the camera on Nina. All right, Nina, I'm going to read the fixtures for you, okay? And you're going to say how many points we're going to get in that fixture.
Do I have to do maths?
No. You don't have to count it up until the end. Just there.
But
we're going to put dramatic. We're going to stick some dramatic music in there.
and then when it inevitably goes wrong, it'll be clipped up and you'll be rinsed and you'll be quoted everywhere.
Oh yeah, I won't do a Father and go, we are not dropping points till March.
Hey, listen, if he's right, then he's a very smart man.
I mean, yeah, go on, hit me.
Okay, all right. Camera on Nina, please. Camera on Nina. Okay. Southampton away.
Southampton did the double over us, didn't they? Before they went down.
Yeah, they did, the bastards, yeah. They damn us in, yeah.
They literally, before they went down, said, we have business to do, Chelsea.
That was the lowest of the low, mate. The Ward-Prowse free kick, 1-0, and we lost at Stamford Bridge with Graham Potter.
Was that 3-0
we lost 2-1 at St Mary's.
Oh, so we did score.
Because Lavia scored a screamer against us.
Well, I'll tell you what, as bizarre as that sounds, that could be a game that troubles us. Well, they did score against Liverpool, didn't they? They gave Liverpool a bit of a hard go. I think Liverpool weren't at their best.
Wasn't it going to be short form content?
Yeah.
That's what I was just thinking.
Yeah, we're going to do short form content. Southampton away. This could be a game.
All right.
3 points, yes or no?
Yeah.
Right, Spurs away.
Yeah.
Charlie, I like it. Taking control.
Okay, go on then. 3 points against Southampton.
Okay, 3 points against Southampton. Tottenham away.
Oh, come on. 3 points.
Brentford at home.
Well, our record at home against Brentford's shocking. I'll go... I don't want to say a draw.
Just say it.
Okay, draw.
I forgot about Astana away as well.
Oh, come on. Really, we're doing that too? Astana win.
Okay, Shamrock at home.
Should be a win.
Everton away.
Oh, that is a tough one. Everton away. I mean, to be fair, okay. No, 3 points. Goodison. I'm calling it now.
Fulham at home.
Win. 3 points.
Ipswich away.
Oh, see, that's tough. I'm actually looking forward to playing Ipswich, but we need to have some respect, I think, for Ipswich. Guys, you're obviously going to expect me to say win for all of these.
Was it?
I think
This is so long-winded.
No, but this is really challenging because then you want to say 3 points for each
it's challenging
game.
to say 3 points, 1 point, no points.
We're not. Well, I'm not going to back us to lose, though, am I?
Yeah, but you can. It's not a problem. I mean,
this won't even fit in this 60-second shorts now. Short form content
Josh
of
is
2
going to be
minutes.
like, Nina's done a crap job. I don't know though because that's really difficult.
Welcome to
'Cause
the
what if
short
we-
format podcast.
Yeah.
Because what if something happens in those games?
Well, of course something's going to happen,
yeah.
but I'm
But you
asking you
can't
what's going to
foresee-
happen.
But you
Well,
can't
this is
foresee
the whole point of making a
things.
prediction. You're just going to say what you think's going to happen. So
But
if you
it's
say,
so tough to do predictions that far away.
We'll just say 3 points. It's in 28 days. So
Okay,
3
go
points.
on then. Southampton,
3 points.
Tottenham,
3 points.
Astana,
Well, obviously 3 points. Yeah.
Shamrock Rovers,
They missed.
Brentford at home.
I think that'll be a draw.
Well, that wasn't very short form of you. Everton away.
3 points.
Chelsea, Fulham at home.
3 points.
Oh. What's the next one? Ipswich away.
Go 3 points.
See, you're thinking about it.
Yeah, but I'm gonna start think about it. All that would have been less than 30 seconds. You know about Chelsea Southampton short form content. 3 minutes later. Oh yeah, 3 points.
I'm going to have Becca knocking on the door in a second. Sorry, guys, time to wrap up. Your time's up.
Yeah, that short form
brilliant.
content took 40 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, I won't make you do it, but which games do you think out of those could be the ones that trouble Chelsea most?
Brentford, Everton.
I think it might be Ipswich. To be
I
honest
think
with you.
I don't think that's a bizarre thing to say.
It's
You're
a
going to go
Monday
to
night as well, isn't it?
You're going to a hostile ground. Ipswich are kind of every single game they have looked like they are actually doing decent things on the pitch. I don't think Ipswich have been a bad side at all. I think they've shown in certain games, even Liverpool first game of the season, nobody expected them to have a really good half against Liverpool.
They should have beaten United.
United, that's another one. Obviously, great game against Tottenham. That's obviously their biggest high of the season. Got a draw against Man United. They've had results where they've troubled top sides. So I don't think we should be.
But they are second bottom.
That's also true. But again, I always think that people shouldn't overlook teams that are in the drop zone because those teams make it difficult for teams that are further up in the league.
You can guarantee the Lap will score against us, by the way, in that game.
So there you go. I don't think Ipswich away would be an easy game at all.
No, but I think it's more likely to be 3 points than let's say Brentford at home.
Oh yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, Brentford have had some good results actually against us.
Brentford are scoring so many goals at the moment. I think that they could actually be the top scorers in the league.
They were. I think they were joined.
They actually might be.
The top scorers.
Yeah, they actually think they could be.
Not anymore though, since.
No, they scored 4 at the weekend.
Oh, true. What against Wolves was it?
No, against Leicester.
No, Leicester.
Yeah.
Fair enough. To be honest, I didn't watch the highlights of the Brentford game. Let's move into.
I love how we've gone like this. We've gone title challenges. Sanchez is really bad. What could go wrong? Oh, we're really good. Maresca's amazing. Title challenge.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Where do we drop? But no, on a real one though, where do you actually think that Chelsea could see a dip? Obviously, injuries I think is a big thing because we've been very lucky with players staying fit. But I think that's another thing, and I think it goes for other teams too. What do you do with a few injuries? If key players are out, do you guys think we'll be...
Yeah, of course.
I don't think we'll have any problems if we
you're
don't
always gonna be
have
worse,
injuries.
Though.
I feel like if we keep our players fit, we
You'll
will
be
have
able to.
no problems. But it's like I said before, first it's Fofana, then it's one other player. What happens if it's Palmer? You know, the conversation changes dramatically.
But I do think we've got the squad depth to deal with those absentees better than we would have been able to deal with in the past. Of course, you're going to be a worse team if you haven't got Cole Palmer, or if like Wesley Fofana's out of your defence. Like it is going to be slightly worse. But actually, you know, Badiashile will probably play on Wednesday night. Even if Fofana was fit, I don't think he would have played Wednesday night anyway. Because you know Maresca's talked about him not playing twice a week until at least next year. So I think look, Badiashile will come in, and he's done well recently. He started the last 2 games. He played well against Leicester. He was decent against Heidenheim. He done well when he come on yesterday. Maybe this is the start of his redemption arc, and it's a big chance for him. But it's also, I tell you what, him coming on at right centre back yesterday, it was pretty damning for the likes of Tosin, for example, who is a right centre back, and Badiashile normally is a left centre back, but Maresca's preferred to go with him. That indicates that Tosin is basically 4th choice centre back right now.
Yeah.
I like Tosin though. I'd like to see him play a few more games. I think Badiashile is obviously a player we've had more.
He's better than him. He's better than Tosin.
No, okay, but bigger sample of games though, so it's easier to say.
But Tosin's played.
There's nothing to say that Badiashile's a better player than Tosin.
Oh,
I mean, you would argue Tosin's played in an established Premier League side, which earned him the move to Chelsea. Badiashile played in France, which I think is a level below.
He played over 100 games in Monaco, played Champions League football. I think that's probably...
Well, you could play in Switzerland and play Champions League football. Yeah, that doesn't mean you're playing at a good level.
No, of course you could. But I think, Badiashile for me is better than Tosin. But ultimately, the only person's decision that matters on that front is the manager. And the manager thinks he's better than him, so...
No, that's true. And I always say that, and I said this to Alex yesterday, that Badiashile had the advantage of playing with Thiago Silva. That definitely taught him a lot and made him a better player. I think when he arrived those first 6 months alongside Enzo Fernandez, he was one of the better players. It wasn't difficult to shine in this Chelsea team at the time. So really great. I think his confidence levels dropped a little bit. He obviously went through a bit of a rough patch with a couple injuries here and there, found himself on the bench a little bit, but he'll find his way, and I think it's an open door for him obviously now as Wesley Fofana will be out. But yeah, it's a chance for him to grow, because I think we've still not quite seen the best. Is that fair to say? I mean, especially recently, and again, I think he arrived with maybe not high expectations, really, because we weren't really sure how he would fit in. And obviously, he was playing alongside Thiago Silva, as I said, so was Disasi. They were kind of interchanging. But I think none made the case for themselves to be a kind of regular starter, really. So I think that's almost a question mark there. But yeah, I'd like to see Tosin a little bit more, though. I think there's something there, and I think that his confidence can only grow with games and if he plays. And at the moment, that's hard to see.
Maybe we see him alongside Colwell on Wednesday against Southampton.
Perhaps.
Badiashile will play on
You think Badiashile plays on the right hand side again?
I mean, it makes sense. He did bring him in, and he's had more games.
If Tosin was going to play, surely you would have put him on against Aston Villa yesterday.
Yeah.
It's clear now that Badiashile is ahead of Tosin, and Tosin is 4th choice in the centre backs order under Maresca. Because if he was 3rd choice, he would have started against Leicester, and he would have come on against Villa. None of those things happened.
No, it's true.
So I'm not. By the way, I'm not shitting on Tosin. I'm not saying he's crap or anything, but it's clear that he was 1, bought as an opportunity, and 2, as a squad player. And at best, he'll be 3rd choice centre back for Chelsea. But right now, he's probably where myself and maybe many others expected him to be. A squad player that's going to play every so often, might get a few Premier League games here and there, will play some Conference League games. That's what he is, mate. This is a guy that's played for Fulham for virtually his whole career. Up until now, and no disrespect to Fulham, but this is not a guy that you look at and you think, oh, this is someone that's going to take Chelsea to the next level. He's not. He's just a useful option to have.
Well, one player we signed who was supposed to take us to the next level and didn't, but has bounced back supremely is Cucurella. In Matthew Harding, that's probably the loudest chant I heard.
Mate, it's my favourite one. Mate, at Leicester last week, a couple of weeks ago. Mate, that was.
Oh, he looked so happy,
that was going for a good. That was going for a good 2 minutes at the end when they come over. I said to it when we were here the other week, the transformation that this guy's gone through, from being booed by fans in his first season to almost joining Man United on loan, people wanting him out of the club, to now being arguably the best left back in the league, one of our most important players, and performing to an exceptional standard week in, week out is beyond what any of us would have expected from him. And again, no one's talking about him being a flop. No one's talking about his price tag. And he's rightfully getting the credit that he deserves. And he's so important to how we play right now. And I'll be honest, mate, I'm surprised at how good he's been. Look, I knew he was a good player. He was good at Brighton. But when you sort of saw his first season at Chelsea, when you saw him at the start of last season, you sort of think, oh, has this really worked out? Did we make a mistake here? Have we wasted potentially a lot of money? But he really come into his own back end of last season when Poch finally decided to invert the fullback, and then he was exceptional for Spain at the Euros. and he's just carried that on. And not only is he like a great player, he's obviously really popular around the place. He's funny, he comes across as a nice guy, and he deserves all the credit and all the praise that he's getting for what he's been doing.
I think as well, one aspect of his game that's improved massively is when he's further up the pitch, and I think we saw that against Leicester, and we saw it again with the assist for the first goal. I never looked at Cucurella, and this is probably where I thought a player like Robertson is always going to be ahead. He whips those crosses in, he makes those runs, he can try and get involved in goals. And I never really looked at Cucurella as that type of player. A bit like you would never expect Jorginho to shoot outside the box. It's just not what he does. But Maresca's not said to him, listen, you're going to be the next Marcus Alonso. I want you to score all these goals. But what he is doing is he's creating another creative outlet with a player that never really was, not for us at least. And I think that's probably the one area that I look at Cucurella and I think, this is where you have improved significantly. He was always a good defender. He was good at inverting last season, so we can't say that's completely new. But I do think up the top end of the pitch, that's where he's really improved.
Yeah, I agree. He's such a menace as well, isn't he? He causes, wingers nowadays. He is though.
He's like a little pest, isn't he?
Little Dennis the Menace,
and it's so cool because you've seen it how much he frustrates players as well, and so many wingers, and we talk about it like the way that he runs, his work ethic as well is just so good. I think it's one of the best. How much I want to see a heat map of Cucurella because I think he covers so much ground every game he plays, and he's just so good. But yeah, like Charlie mentioned it, he was ahead in the pecking order starting for Spain every game. He was so good throughout the Euros, best player. And I don't know what you're talking about, best left back in the league. Alex and I think he's the best left back in the world, mate.
Go on, Cuckoo.
Go on, Cuckoo. But yeah, I love it. Have you guys watched that video that Chelsea posted of him, Fofana and Neto?
Doing that cooking thing,
doing the cooking challenge where one of them's blindfolded, the other, and Cucurella is so funny in that one. He's just effortlessly funny. But yeah, what a guy.
He seems like a good character in the dressing room
Yeah.
as well.
Everyone says that he's the funniest guy in the squad. Like whenever like players get asked who the funniest is, they always say him.
Because he's just so confused and sometimes oblivious to the situation.
He's just
around
great. He's just
him.
great vibes, isn't he?
Yeah. I'd like to meet Cucurella, I think.
Oh, he seems like a good guy. He's quite smart as well. I don't know if you remember the thing he did with Palmer, post meridian, AM and PM. What? You don't remember?
I mean, in greatest respects to Cole, it's
you remember? What was the question, Charlie?
It's something like they asked a few questions, like what do AM and PM mean in terms of like what do they stand for?
Yes.
And like to be fair, I wouldn't have known that either.
Cucurella's smart for that. That's not even his first language.
Mate, I know this is a slight tangent, right? Before the game yesterday, some guy was like, "Oh, can you answer a few general knowledge questions like for some channel?" Mate, the first one he asked me was like, do you know what a female cat's called, by the way? because mate, I had no idea. I didn't even know what it was called.
What is it?
I don't know. I obviously got it wrong. Do you know what a female cat's called?
I know what a female dog is.
Yeah, that's not a question.
I don't know what a female.
Yeah, mate, I couldn't get it. I had no idea. He literally got me. It was like one of them. Are you smart?
But did you expect a football question and then he came out with that?
No. He told me it's like we're going to do like some general knowledge questions. Like, are you smarter than a Chelsea fan thing? And he asked me like a list of questions. First one, what's a female cat?
Oh my god!
I was like,
do you know what it is?
No, I forgot.
Actually, there's a few different ones.
Well, read them out and I'll remember.
The first one is a queen.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. It's called a queen. Yeah,
a
queen.
Ah,
it's like,
go queen.
A queen. I would. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Just whilst we're on.
Hey,
smart,
listen.
Whilst we're talking about smart, I've got no idea where that clip's going to be. Hopefully, it doesn't surface anywhere because I've got that totally wrong. Just stood there, no idea.
I mean,
there you go, guys.
Yeah.
Something for the fans.
Yeah, and I don't know what we're talking about then. Oh yeah, Cucurella, and he's intelligent. Yeah.
Let's move further up the pitch. I mean, we haven't even spoken about Cole Palmer. I don't even think he had his best game yesterday.
He's man of the match.
But I don't think he had his best game, and he still wins man of the match. That's the thing. I was speaking with the people around where I sit, and we were saying because I didn't want to be the one who said I don't think he's been at his best, and people go, "Oh, you're an idiot, Alex." So I thought I'll just ask a few people around me, see if they're thinking the same thing that I am, and they went, "Yeah, he's not been at his best today. Like he was picking passes, but he just didn't look." I wouldn't have said Palmer looked particularly sharp. I really don't think he did. I think he looked slower than he usually does. I think his passes. They didn't have that finesse that he usually does, and he still manages to get an assist and a goal as well at the end.
Look, he was man of the match probably because he got a goal and an assist. That's probably a large part of it. But you could have easily made a case for Caicedo being man of the match, for Enzo Fernandez being man of the match. You could have even made a case for Nicholas Jackson potentially. There were so many players that could have easily been man of the match, but I think probably what separated it was the fact that he got a goal and an assist. Look, I'm not saying he didn't deserve it or whatever, but there were equally there are other candidates who could have been. Yeah, it was a brilliant finish from him. And yeah, what was that? His first goal in 3 games. What a disaster! I mean, that's so bad, isn't it?
How dare you, Carl?
I didn't score for 3 games. Like that's the levels that he set. That people are like genuinely.
That was enough time for Arsenal fans to come and say Saka's overtaken Palmer.
Yeah, like it's like sort of the levels that he set for himself. It's almost like, oh my god, he's not scored in 3 games, which is like not really that long a run. And suddenly it's like a massive problem. There's like big conversations about whether he's like not himself anymore. It's mad really when you think about it. But yeah, no, he was very good yesterday. The finish was great. And he's just quietly going on about his business. He's got 8 goals in the league this season. Him and Jackson, I think, are joint top scorers for us in the league with 8 apiece.
Yeah,
from 13
and they've got
games.
assists as well, which separates them from those that are joint with them below. So
yeah, Palmer's got 6 assists now, and Jackson's got 3.
Yeah.
So
and the defensive aspect as well. Well, not even just that, just the runs that he makes. Like I was watching Palmer, and you always think to yourself, if a player's a little bit quiet in a game or not as lively as they usually are. Again, it's a compliment to how good he is. But he was still making the runs. He was still trying to get into those spaces, pressing as well. And that's one thing Maresca said is be like Palmer. Basically, I think he was calling out Madueke at the time, and saying that Palmer hasn't changed. He's the same. He's the same guy. He puts in the shift that he needs to, and he's still contributing on the other side of the pitch as well. I don't think you could say the same for a lot of these top players. Now, I'm not going to say Mbappe and Messi. We're maybe not putting him in that conversation yet. But to be honest with you, we all know he should have been higher ranked in the Ballon d'Or than he was. And that type of player, that type of profile, more than capable of becoming the elite in world football. I think Cole Palmer's not a million miles away from being part of that conversation, especially if he can stay fit. And if we've got a top team around him as well, and that's only going to improve, I'm sure, with the recruitment and the outgoings as well. That's a real conversation.
How many goals do you reckon he scores this season?
How many goals?
So he's on 8 now.
In terms
and he's
of
not
what's
been
his GA though? What's his GA? That's what I want to know.
8 plus 6.
Because Hazard's best
14.
seasons were like 30 GA.
But he's already passed that last season.
Okay,
yeah.
but can you do that consistently?
Yeah, of course. But I mean, in terms he scored 22 Premier League goals last season, right? How many? He's got 8 already. How many do you reckon he can get this year?
I don't think he gets as many as last season.
I would agree on that.
I think he'll get much more assists. I think he'll be a much more creative outlet because Jackson's going to fill that gap.
That's a positive, by the way. That's how it should be.
I don't think he'll get 20 goals in the league this season. I think he'll probably get...
What, Jackson or Palmer?
Oh, Palmer.
Yeah.
I think he probably gets...
15, 16?
15 or 16, which is still a very good
That's
return, by the way.
mate.
It's ridiculous. I'd say get around 15 or 16. I do think he'll score less just because of the way that we play under Maresca. There's a bit more control.
How many assists?
He's on 6 at the moment. I think he can probably get 12, 13 assists.
Is that it?
I think he can get
more.
I thought you were going to say more, Charlie.
I think he'll be pushing 17 or 18 assists.
And don't forget we've got many more players that can finish chances
as
opposed to last season.
I mean, you'd expect him to probably get another 30 GNA season.
Unbelievable.
Well,
the fact that
he said that so casually.
Yeah.
Another 30 GA this season.
I think what's 8 plus 6?
Yeah, 14.
14, yeah.
Really, Charlie?
No, because I just wanted to get it right.
I told you like 5 minutes ago, by the way. You didn't hear me.
No,
I helped you out.
I zoned out of whatever you were saying.
Wow, he listens to me, doesn't he?
Well, yeah. Anyway, it didn't get my attention with your long form, short form content. 14 was on 14 GNA right now. Yeah, you'd expect him. I think 30 GNA in the Premier League is very much doable this season, which is mental.
Man.
Yeah,
it's realistic. What about Jackson? I mean, I'm predicting over 25 goals now. I'm going to go.
In all competitions?
No, in the Prem.
He's got 8.
Yeah, I'm predicting over 25.
Mate,
I knew he was going to get over 20.
Mate, there's 25 games left. So we need to...
Bring it on, baby. Bring it on. Feed the Jackson.
Mate, I was disappointed you didn't do the Nicholas Jackson meme.
Nicholas Jackson.
Mate, he is more than capable of doing that. Finish yesterday.
That was very good, yeah.
But it's I don't think he really had any other big actually, no, he had one other chance, I think.
Smash one over the bar, which he probably should have done a little bit better in the second half. But
he's going to be, if he's going to have players like Palmer and Neto and Sanchez feeding him.
Sanchez could feed him.
He could feed him, that's true.
Not from what I've seen.
Well, no, he did. Well, to be fair, Sanchez did set up a goal against Wolves, didn't he? When he launched it long, Nick could on the knockback and Palmer lobbed it in. So he kind of did feed him on one occasion. I still think 25 is quite ambitious. Like, I've backed him to get 20 in the league this season.
Yeah,
and
he's definitely getting 20. I do think, though, if he continues...
But it's provided he stays fit, though. He's got to stay fit, obviously.
Yeah, he has to.
Yeah, but Maresca's so stubborn as well. I don't see... I mean, I don't know if I'm being a bit...
And Kunku will start Wednesday night, by the way.
I mean... I hope he does, but
because Jackson's one card away from a ban, by the way. You do not want Jackson getting booked on Wednesday night and he's banned.
He's got to score a hat trick against Tottenham. He loves a hat trick at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. But do you guys know? I saw this yesterday that Jackson scored 6 times. First Chelsea goal 6 times a season, and I think all of them have been in the first 20 minutes or something like that.
And everyone keeps complaining that I miss all of the goals on the vlogs. I'm sorry. I just,
when you get
those, you want to ease into the...
It's so funny, right, in the comments when someone goes, oh, that was a shit vlog, you missed the goals. It's like, do you not understand that you're not filming the whole match? Like, it's so mad, isn't it? People who think that, like, you're meant to get all the goals. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. So
shit vlog, you missed the goals, mate.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've only got a couple of minutes left, so I mean, let's talk about our wingers. We had Neto and Sancho yesterday. I didn't expect Sancho to start.
We were saying, weren't we, mate? A little bit surprised because he played 90 minutes in the week against Heidenheim, but man, that was a decision that paid off as well. Sancho was actually, I know he didn't contribute in terms of G&A, but his overall performance was very good. He was a threat down that left side. He was taking players on. Some good dribbling. He's really good with the ball in tight spaces. And yeah, mate, it was an impressive performance. And that was his first start in the league since the game at Anfield. So he's not started in the league for a while. He's been out with an illness and then a bit of an injury and that. But yeah, that was a timely reminder of what he can bring. And I do think going forward this season, he's going to be an important contributor. I think me and you were chatting about this after the game yesterday, that if we're talking in terms of talent and ability, that's our best wing pairing is Neto and Sancho. But I think for Maresca, he probably sees it. I think he probably sees Madueke and Neto as the first choice from more of a balanced perspective. But yeah, certainly I think Neto and Sancho is probably ability-wise our best pairing.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I also won't discount Madueke. I think Madueke's taken a little bit too much criticism recently. I think it's been uncalled for. I'm talking in general from the fan base, and I think a lot of fans wanted to see Madueke dropped, which, ultimately fair play. Nobody's guaranteed a place, in the starting lineup. You play on merit, but he came on, he provided Palmer's assist, and I think those two have a pretty special chemistry, which I think they don't quite have. Palmer doesn't yet have with a Sancho or a Neto. Not that it won't, grow, and obviously Palmer plays a little bit better with the right wing as always anyway. But I think that it's a welcome problem. Sancho played on the right midweek, started on the left. I mean, that's someone you're looking at can play both ways. So is Neto. So the fact that we've got these versatile wingers and you can pretty much mix and match every game, it's a really, really good thing. Sancho, we know, 5 assists and 6 starts. Brilliant. He's yet finding his place. I will say with Sancho, though, I do want him to be a little bit more direct when it comes to having an opportunity to shoot. I want him to back himself because sometimes he dribbles a little bit too much and it's like, right, time to either release or take a shot. I would like to see him take more shots, I think, definitely as he continues to play.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically, it's like Madueke, isn't it? You want him to be a little bit less selfish.
It's the opposite, isn't it, with the two? Yeah, you're right.
But I mean, I'm a huge fan of Sancho, and when we talk about Maresca's favourite pairing, I don't think that Madueke will be that. I think that it will be Neto and Sancho, because Madueke's just not given enough output. He's not producing enough on the other end of the pitch.
But we talked about this the other week, though. Like, I think a big part of the reason that he plays
is the defensive work rate. But you can't tell me Neto doesn't work.
No, I'm not saying Neto doesn't work hard, but I think Madueke has definitely got the defensive edge on Sancho, for example.
I would agree with you on that.
Doesn't work hard
Sancho will pin down that left side, and Neto is better on the right. So I think because Neto is better on the right, he just kicks Madueke off his perch. And we talk about defensive stability as well. I mean, if we keep playing Caicedo in that right back spot, which I'm actually not against whatsoever, I think that that's a sustainable system with Lavia and Enzo. You get the creativity, you get the balance. You're going to win all of your midfield battles.
Yeah, we won't see that. We're not going to see that every week, though.
No, we're not going to see it every week, but certainly something that I wouldn't mind. You know, if we were resting players against Southampton, for example, I wouldn't mind setting up the same way against Tottenham.
I was going to say, I wouldn't be adverse to seeing the same team that played yesterday play against Spurs. That
wouldn't be a problem at all.
That for me, I think would be I think there could be a strong chance that happens. Obviously, Wednesday we're going to see the changes, but yeah, I think the team on Sunday could definitely almost be the same team that plays against Tottenham, providing no one gets suspended.
That's it. Well, listen, we've got to wrap it up there, guys. Unfortunately, we only have 1 hour slots, guys. So the podcast, we can't really drag it out too much.
Nina took so long with her short form content. We wasted valuable chatting time. So apologies, guys.
But listen. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Big shout out to our sponsors as well, Omely. If you don't know who Omely are, it's the new place to talk about football with other football fans. On a Twitter space, you could talk about anything. On Omely, there's only one thing. It's football, it's Chelsea. You might be a Aston Villa fan watching this as well. There will be some Villa conversations as well. So join us on Omely. There's a link in the description. Click the link and download it now. I look forward to seeing you on that. And also, make sure you subscribe to Charlie and Nina's channels. We will leave them in the description. All the best, guys, and we will catch up very soon.
Up the Omely.